Tyro, virtual threat, keystroke kill, identity hidden, I fulfill. Cyber assassin, that's my prowl. Codes in hand, you'll fall. Hack and strike, chaos I make. Cyber realm, my domain to take.
So I'm going to do a video about current energy and upcoming opportunities, basically changes. I've got a endeavor that I'm getting involved in that's a sort of like a sponsorship, or you could say a partnership with a company that is going to be doing holistic medicine, basically retreats for people who have, different causes to reach out for a different mode of connecting to spirit, of healing, of dealing with trauma, dealing with just awakening of their own spiritual path and shedding of possibly negativity that has adhered itself to their being. And then also, trauma healing, shadow work, all the things that happen when you partake in natural medicine. I always look at it as, when you're dealing with awakening of spirit, when you're dealing with, plant medicines, and in this case, toad medicine. We're talking about the bufu toad that the natives and indigenous cultures would partake in to commune with spirit, to awaken spiritual aspects that are part of us, that may be latent, may be unknown to our own selves. Parts of us that we hide because they're not socially acceptable, or because our families have always told us, no, don't touch that, don't do that. That may be a predilection that comes natural and always has come natural to you, to suppress or repress certain aspects of yourself. And a lot of people go through that. Some people go through situations in life that have suppressed or repressed their being or their natural state due to a trauma, due to a sense of need of safety. And then some of us, like myself, are just constantly on guard, raised in situations where just ultimately felt in need of safety constantly. So always in that fight or flight state where there is no comfort to be found, even in silence and solitude, because you're always in that fight or flight state. And I want to say, I believe myself, that's part of what the endeavor of this group is to help people with these kind of things. And then also just, people who want to have a spiritual awakening. They want to open a part of themselves that they've felt that they are meant to have a connection with that they never have, and that's a whole thing as well, is in this world of technology and scheduled and regulated religion and beliefs that are pretty rigidly imposed and supposed upon us from an early age, I would say, to break free and connect with nature, the natural state of being, the intentional mode of being connected to spirit, and finding your spirit path, like the natives would do a spirit quest, a vision quest, a dreaming ceremony, a vision ceremony, the peyote ceremonies, the muskroom, the ayahuasca, and bufu. These are all in the same realm of awakening spirit, is what I call it. And I've said several times, I've been on the path of spiritual enlightenment and just looking into shadow aspects and growth and change, communing with spirit. And I've been looking to reach out to others who are on the same journey and feel the same purpose of seeking a spiritual side of being where there's a fulfillment of growth and commonality and community that obviously you can't have by yourself. And being a tradesman and working in the fields that I've worked in, you know, we just put our nose to the grind and put in our, 10, 12-hour days, 5 to 7 days a week, get stuff done. And it's all about making money and solving problems, and it's all very serious, very hard work, and there isn't much time for spirit and thought processes of deeper enlightenment and functions of purpose and all that. There's just do. It's all about action, right? And seeking intentionality and an intentional way of being that has more free flow substance is something that I've been on the path of. And I'm hoping that I've found that with this group. This is something where I'll be having filming sessions with several people who are loosely or very deeply connected with the Bufo community that's starting. It's going to be the Bufo University, and they'll be serving the community as a spiritual, basically, lightning rod, somewhere where people can come and seek enlightenment, to have vision quests and go on dreaming journeys and experience the medicinal ways of the shaman and the indigenous methods of connecting with spirit, connecting with nature, connecting with their own selves, diving into themselves and communing with others. And that's the endeavor currently. That's where I'm headed with my channel. That's where I'm starting to splinter and spend good amounts of my time in between, like I said, my standard 10 to 12 hour days, 5 to 7 days a week. I'm cutting and swathing out time to do this in the middle of calls, in the middle of my day after work, and on my weekends, to follow my dreams, follow my heart, follow my spirit, and do the things that feel like they enrich my soul and feed my sense of purpose and being in a truer manner than just solving problems and going out and getting the job done and making money and all the things that we have to do. But after 20 some odd years, I have strength, I have knowledge, I have capability, but I don't have fulfillment. I don't have happiness. I don't have a sense of purpose from what I do for my job. A lot of people, I think, when they are asked, what do you do, or who are you? And they like to say what they do for work. Like, that's who we are. We are job title. You are what you do, right? And it's been some time, like quite some time, since I have seen myself as what I do. I've, for quite some time, seen myself as who I am and how I feel. I've felt more like a spirit piloting a body than a body embodying a spirit. I feel like that pilot more than I do the flesh suit that it dwells within. So from that perspective, I am starting to actually manifest the relationships and the embodied existence of this dream of mine to be a part of a group who does this professionally, who is creating community and capability and a place for people to actually be spiritual and awaken to their own spiritual essence, to find themselves outside of what they do in their professional lives, you know, to hopefully not see themselves as what they do, but to awaken to who they are and what their purpose is, right? At some point, you realize a lot of people may go through their entire lives and always see themselves as what they do and what they've done, and never even touch on what's in their heart and who their spirit is. And maybe, unfortunately, very sad to say, a lot of people may live their entire lives and miss their sole purpose. Quite honestly, I'm at a point in my life where that scares me. That almost scares me more than the ending of life. But to have lived and one day realize that at the end of my life, I didn't do any of the things that I was meant to do. I missed my opportunities. I missed my purpose. I didn't share my artistic, creative side. I didn't create the things that will endure time, as art is defined as things that outlast you and endeavor to be inspirational well past your existence. That's true art. That's what I'm seeking currently, is to have a more purposeful, fulfilling existence, purely. And to, in that, also become a part of a community of people who are like-minded. And I think I've found them and they've found me. And we're going to be doing these videos, encounters. It's going to start out as basically character development. We'll be meeting up, having conversations, hopefully doing what I do, you know, going on hikes in nature, in beautiful, right now, green valleys with flowers and butterflies and birds and mountains, obviously. And having heart-to-heart, get-to-know-you conversations. Because the idea is to understand and get to know people and then watch them go through their spiritual growth through these sessions and social events and medicinal retreats, and then document as well a shared moment of their experience in awakening, is how I would characterize it, but that's the point. That's how I would characterize it. And that's what I want to get away from, is my point of view is my point of view. What I'm endeavoring to do is find other people's points of view, hear it from their own mouths, how they have received what is happening, how they perceive it, how they feel about it, in their own words. I think there's more power in multiple people's versions and expressions of singular and possibly shared events than there is in one person sharing their perceived interpretation of it. Because I've always prescribed to the thought that, In the native belief, we all sit around the fire, and although we're all in the same place looking at the same fire, none of us are seeing it from the same angle. We're all seeing it from different points and different spots around the same fire. So in essence, none of us are seeing the same thing or having the same experience, even though we're all together. And it's important to have that sharing and that time of, I want to call it debrief, where we share our own perceptions together, because that's very powerful to realize that not only are we separate fractions of a whole, we are still a whole. We may not be together physically, but spiritually in the dream world, we're all of the same thing. We're all part of the same oneness. And that essence, that part, when you start to realize when you're having struggles with someone, you're actually enduring a struggle with your own self. And the oddity of that notion is that sometimes the struggle that you're having on the outside with someone else is actually an inner struggle. Where you feel like you're struggling with someone else, you're actually struggling with an essence that you need to solve within. So we're in this aspect currently of Mercury coming into retrograde with Pisces, and from what I hear, this is one of the retrogrades that is transformative above others, in a way that it comes on before it comes on. And the essence of it seems to be that some of the struggles are perceived but not real. There is a perception of weight and carrying struggle and strife and conflict that truly may not exist at all, but in your mind and in your heart and in your soul. It's an inner aspect that needs to be conquered rather than an outer aspect that's afflicting you. And the realization of that is powerful, because during this time, it's important to come to this understanding of the situation for the growth to move past that state of perception, because it is just that. It's a state of mind that, if it's held, will continue to hold you down and hold you back. And nobody else can help you with that. That's the sad part, is it's not something that anyone else is able to solve for you. It's something that you literally have to look at, kind of like shadow work, and say, is it someone else's fault? Am I blaming other people for something that has truly nothing to do with their actions or their thoughts or their imposition on me, or even they imposing on me? Or am I just perceiving it that way? Because sometimes that's exactly what it is. It's a perceived imposition. And then there's the flip side of sometimes you, in the Carlos Castaneda sense of looking at it, are in a way being tested or gaining strength from what Castaneda called petty tyrants, right? Is characters who are in your life to bring about strength through trial, through making you look at the ugly aspects of yourself and seeing it as if it's them, but it's really you. It's something you have to work on. And that's a big thing that I'm seeing right now in this time is working through and dealing with the appropriate aspect. And none of it has to do with blame or finger pointing or really seeking out the cause. It really is an inner aspect journey of where is it within myself that I'm fighting with myself Where is it that I'm holding myself back with my own limiting beliefs? And how can I free myself up to be more accepting of possibly other people's views, their interpretation of what life is about, and their behavior? Overall, that's one of the hardest things to deal with, is other people's behavior, is their word usage, how they refer to you, how they relate to you, sometimes may offend you. But are they truly offending you, or are they testing your resolve and possibly bringing about questions that you don't even want to look at? Because that's a true thing. Sometimes what's bothering you is you're being forced to look at aspects that you've shelved. You've set your bags aside and put them in the closet, rather than setting the bags on the floor, unpacking them and sorting through the contents and putting them away in their right place. Everything in its right place. That's where things get solved. When you just take the bags and put the bag with the contents and everything that you don't want to deal with in the closet. And I don't mean that in a sexual way, as that meaning has been strewn about these days. Not that there's anything wrong with that. It's just not the sense that I'm using it in. I'm using it in a sense of when people have emotional baggage, relationship baggage, trauma baggage, personality baggage, and then yes, sometimes sexual baggage. A lot of times that stuff doesn't get dealt with. Maybe it gets set aside in lieu of just showing up and doing your job and being that job type. This is who I am. This is what I do. What I do is who I am. And all the baggage of healing and soul and understanding of self is set aside and never dealt with. So in the times that someone tries you out and makes you look at something you don't want to, typically that's where you get angry. That's where you get bothered. It's not necessarily the person's fault. It's the feelings, emotions, and the trigger points that they bring up, not them themselves. Maybe they're highly healed in an area that you wish you were. Maybe they're highly expressive in an area where you're shut down. Or maybe they literally don't see a weakness in themselves that is a strength in you, and that bothers you. It can be transverse, inversed. We're always going through different aspects in life, as it is a never-ending journey. Even after death, there is existence in the soul and in the spirit realm. So there is a never-ending nature to our being, and that inherently means that there's a never-ending quest of perspective, perception, and growth, but also trial and tribulation. And that's part of what I'm going to be documenting, is people awakening to these things, breaking these boundaries, facing them, because that's typically what plant medicine does. At least that's what it's done for me, is whenever I've gone on my trips back in my youth more, not so much these days, because I feel I've done a lot of that work. Not to say I won't do some more. But what it has done for me is made me face those things from an outside perspective. In a sense, it set me outside of my own I am this. It made me look at my own self and my life from an outside perspective, like a spirit looking in with an impersonal viewpoint, and seeing me and myself purely. And in those moments, I've been able to look at myself and say, why? Why did even things that were so serious cause you to just laugh? Like, why was I allowing that to hold me back? Why was this so hard for me to overcome? why was this such a big deal, you know? And you have those moments of clarity, of awakening, and you're just like, wow, okay. Thank you, Spirit, for opening my eyes to this aspect of myself. And now I have grown another step. But it's a never-ending journey, isn't it? Growth. And I think part of life is all of us fractals have our own piece of the puzzle to solve. And some of us are solving more than others. Some have stepped completely off the path and are solving nothing. We're just living a physical life and shutting down the dream world, the spirit world, and ignoring it in lieu of what we do and who we are. But I think there is a large part of society that's waking up to spiritual awakening and the importance of it in the Western world. This is a new thing. We've been shut down on this side of the globe for quite some time. I'd say more the Industrial Revolution kind of turned us all into those bot-minded, show up and do your job, make your money, collect your food, and, you know, buy, consume. Buy the things you need and want, and just keep doing that. And that's what your life's about. And we've kind of sidestepped true purpose and existence and spiritual aspects of being human. And I think that's waking up in a lot of society. So, that being said, I want to wrap up with, I feel that there's this unfounded weight, not just particularly sitting on me, but because of the planetary aspects of what's going on currently. It's affecting the entire world, and everybody's energy seems to be that most people are feeling a little put upon and put out and stressed out, carrying too much weight, being asked too much of them, and almost as if they're being attacked and questioned and judged. And my question is it true? Or is it a petty tyrant attack on us all? Is it a test that's making us look into ourselves and decipher whether or not we are being tested at all? Having to turn inside and face what's real versus what's not real. It's, in a sense, like there was an empowerment upon those not so real aspects, and they seem more real than they actually are. And the purpose of that is to force people to deal with the reality that it isn't reality, that it is an internal problem, not an external problem. The world isn't happening to you, you are happening to the world. Your existence is something that you play the largest part of creating and manifesting. Life has a lot less happening to you going on than it has you happening to it. Because we express and manifest upon existence in life more than it impresses, expresses, and ends up being what we live than what we have upon it. And that, I think, is the essence of the energy currently, is that we're all going through a bit of a trial of Mercury retrograde in Pisces currently. And that trial is to see through the struggle and see that the struggle is self-imposed. So let yourself be free. Let yourself be happy. And know that you are deserving. Allow yourself to receive. Allow yourself to be happy. And allow yourself abundance. Because if you don't, who will?
I just need to know what you like. Take a step ahead, cause I'm too shy to begin. Yeah. Ooh, can I have it? Ooh, let me have it. Ooh, should I have it? Ooh, I need your permission, permission to party all night long with you. I need your permission, permission to get crazy every night with you. I need your permission, permission. 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 I don't wanna do anything you wouldn't like. I just need to know what you like. Take a step ahead, cause I'm too shy to begin. Yeah. Ooh, can I have it?